the absence of a viable evacuation plan. If you think you can take a 40-year-old plant and give it another 20 years, then you are making a leap of faith that those of us here on this side of the aisle are not willing to make. You cannot think that what happened in Japan won't happen here. You have a plant that was never meant to go beyond 40 years, and now they're talking about giving it a relicensing like it was giving out candy.
Provides up to 30% of the city's energy, and it's clean and affordable energy.
Is it the city and Westchester in New York City?
Yes. We'll hear directly from the federal government, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, that has spent over 11,000 man-hours investigating the facility this past year.
We're in sight of the Tappan Zee Bridge, and anybody who just came in would see there is a backup from the Tappan Zee Bridge all the way to White Plains. And this is 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. We can't get people out of White Plains every day. How are we going to get, and they're practiced, they do it every day. How are we going to get 1 million people away from a plant if there happens to be an accident?
We know they don't regulate the banks, and we also know they don't regulate the oil corporations after BP. Now we find out they don't even regulate the nuclear plants. So our only option is to shut them down, because we have clean options that will take us forward into the 21st century, and we don't need to waste more billions of dollars on a failed technology that is poisonous for generations to come. The only answer is to shut it down now.
For 8 years in a row, Indian Point has earned the NRC's highest safety rating, green. Provides 25% of New York City's region's electricity. Replacing Indian Point would lead to a deterioration in the region's air quality, causing many health and other problems.
It's important for all of our members that Westchester has reliable, affordable power, jobs, economic development, and continued prosperity. And Indian Point is essential for meeting these challenges. In addition to the jobs at the plant, Indian Point is responsible for generating 11,000 jobs in the lower Hudson Valley. Furthermore, the loss of Indian Point could cause electricity rates in the region to rise as much as 150%.
I have grave concerns about the unfortified fuel pools that contain more spent fuel. It's spent, but it's still highly radioactive than in Fukushima.
Indian Point is responsible for a long list of environmental assaults on the Hudson River and the region almost since its opening. Lately, there have been a string of leaks of water containing tritium and strontium-90, plus closures for a variety of reasons. One of the planes hijacked on 9/11 flew over Indian Point on its way to the World Trade Center. Documents later found in Afghanistan contained information about America's nuclear power plants.
Its energy purchased this plant more than 10 years ago. It has invested hundreds of millions of dollars to upgrade safety and security programs and training, with the overreaching goal to make certain that Indian Point maintains the highest safety and security standards.
The lessons, though, are about how we can do better. It is an economic engine for our community. It is affordable and reliable power, but we can always do better. And being within several hundred yards of Indian Point, for us, it's all about emergency response and evacuation planning, because even if the plant were to stop operating tomorrow, we live with the spent fuel rods that are there. And the problems in Japan were as much around the spent fuel rods. It was not about how to shut down generating power. So for those of you in here who don't live within several hundred yards, we forever will be dealing with the spent fuel rods.
Indian Point is an old car whose time has come. We renovated it, we fixed it, and we bet on its continuing to run without incident. So far, we've been lucky. But for how many years can we continue to bet before the House wins and we lose everything?
The people that work at Indian Point make the money in this area, spend it in this area, and it's just vital for all surrounding economy, taxes.
We have been studying the earthquakes in the New York City area for the last 40 years and published our results in 2008. And we believe we have results with significant implications for Indian Point, and that those results should be considered in the relicensing of Indian Point, including the discovery of a second fault line passing near Indian Point in addition to the Ramapo fault line. So we don't agree with the NRC's position that new seismic data is not relevant to the relicensing of Indian Point.
Thank you, Mr. Armbruster. I do want to address that issue about seismic. As you are probably aware, several years ago, the U.S. Geological Service came out with a new study that indicated in many areas of the eastern part of the United States different levels of seismic activity. And the NRC has been evaluating that information and had initiated a process called a generic issue process. You may have seen the MSNBC article a year or so ago talking about our efforts to reevaluate seismic risk at Indian Point with this new information. In light of the events of Fukushima, with the seismic event and the tsunami at Fukushima, we have accelerated that process by incorporating into our post-Fukushima lessons learned actions a request from licensees to provide us information in a fairly short period of time, a year or so, regarding seismic information that we can then analyze and determine whether there indeed needs to be a reevaluation of the seismic capability. And I'm sure that we will leverage the information that you all have developed as part of that process.
We know that renewables are here now, and they're ready for prime time.
Representing the 400+ union workers at Indian Point. I have meetings every week. The operators to this plant are in training almost every month. They go in for a week of training and they come out. Everybody is trained at this plant. Just this week, myself, had to spend a day in training just to get access to the plant.
Are you scared? Well, you should be. Are you scared? Well, you should be. There's no backup plan. There's no safety net. When Indian Point blows, what do you think you'll get? 20 million panic people all on the run. And there's Indian Point. It's the smoking gun. It's the smoking gun. It's the smoking gun. So CEOs spending our hard-earned cash, spending our hard-earned money, drunk as devils, drunk as lords, forever power hungry. Those girls are spent. They've lived their nighttime to nail those drums called the they call Indian Point. Nail it tight, nail it tight, nail it tight, nail it tight. When the earth quakes and splits the ground from Peekskill to the LI Sound, the cooling ponds they won't be found, evaporated a core meltdown, a core meltdown, a core meltdown. Energy's got the NRC right in his pocket. The only thing to do is shut it down, pocket. Terror raining from the skies, remember 9/11. Don't you ever forget that 3,000 souls, they went to heaven, they went straight to heaven, they went straight to heaven, they went straight to heaven. Solar panels, windmills, and hydroelectric crews. Geothermal energy source is just to name a few. Alternative energy is the way to go. Let's give power back to the people. Just say no. So shame on you for Indian Point. It's like a sitting duck. If we don't get together on this, we'll be plumb out of luck. We'll all be plumb out of luck. Yes, we'll all be